Oh, Gary,
Don't you air your
don't you ever.
filthy. Good morning,
Good
Don.
morning. How are you?
I'm good, and I'm Gary. For
Good.
those of you that don't know, like you don't know already, my name is second, but really I am the star. So let's just put it out there.
Is it like that today? It's like that.
It's
Okay.
like Don and Gary doing 60.
Listen, can I meet you over here? Just speak with me for a minute over here.
We'll be right back.
We'll be
What?
right back. Maybe. Whack! Boom, boom, boom. Anyway, so how are you? Everything's good? You having a
Yeah,
good day?
it's a gloomy Sunday, but
Yes. Not
what are you
digging
gonna do?
it. This is that weather pattern I hate so much because it's basically we're just jumping into April, soon to be May, which is basically May gray, June gloom, and I don't like it. Me not like it.
We're supposed to be like on the first of a 4-day rain spell, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it rained this morning too. I was just like, oh God. I moved to the beach for a reason. It wasn't for this.
But you get plenty of sunny days. Come on.
Well, not until after May, mid-May or something. I can't wait. I need it now. This hair requires no humidity.
You can always go to your other house in Palm Springs.
Which one? There's driving across town from one to the other. It's like there's a lot to do. I'm just kidding. So I've been watching real quick. I'll jump into this. I've been watching The Residents. Have you seen that yet?
The Residents. I've
Yes.
heard about it.
Ooh.
Is that on Netflix?
It is on Netflix, and actually with the woman who was in Orange is the New Black as Crazy Eyes.
Yes. I've seen a clip of it. It looks good.
Phenomenal. She is
Okay,
a wonderful actor. I love her. She also was in a really good series where she played a psychiatrist on Showtime or HBO, and it was really wonderful.
I remember you talking about that, but that only lasted like one season, maybe?
Couple
or-
seasons. I don't know if they
Okay.
brought it back or whatever it was. Jumped right into COVID, but
Yeah.
otherwise, really great. Are you binging anything fun right now?
There is a show was on NBC, and of course the name escapes me right now. And I downloaded the NBC app because suppose you could watch it there. I saw the first episode. Great, I want to watch more of this. And then it's like, oh, you have to pay. Like, son of a bitch.
That's how they get you. That's how
That's
they
how
get you.
me. I'm not paying. No, there's
not
way
paying.
too many channels out there.
Watch this. Ooh, ooh.
Okay,
My
I'm
desk
going to move
moves.
on.
My-
Speaking of shows, I have to bring this up. I hate criticizing our people, but there's a new show that just started this week on Hulu.
yeah.
On paper, great cast: Nathan Lane, Matt Bomer. There's another gentleman who I've not seen him before, but he's one of the three main characters, and then Linda Lavin
Yes.
plays Nathan Lane's mother. They filmed one season. She passed away towards the
Yeah.
end of season
Yeah.
one. So they apparently, in the 10 episodes, they worked her death into episode number 9. And they're waiting to hear if there's a second season. So it just premiered like 2 days ago, if that. And I guess people have already seen previews of it. And most of the comments are like, I love it, I love it. The clips I've seen,
Yeah. We don't always hit it when we try and do the LGBTQ plus series thing. I've read a lot of things. One thing I hear that they really dislike most is the laugh track,
okay.
and apparently they're
Since I
trying
don't
to
have
be.
Hulu, I've not seen it. I've only seen little clips.
I've not seen it either, but I hear the same mixed reviews on it. It's just like,
Yeah.
I sure hope so, but I'm not convinced. Even though my ex Matt Bomber is on there, before I broke it off with him, he decided to follow up this show prospect, and then
He
he
didn't
got
give you
married.
any behind the scenes scoop or,
Yeah,
under
no,
the
we don't-
cover.
He's a little bitter
info?
about the breakup, so we don't talk anymore.
Okay, yeah. But you're not bitter about
I
it.
don't. I don't like to talk about it either. It's a little
No.
uncomfortable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I won't talk about after this episode, because I brought it up a couple times. You and I were talking the other day, and I was walking to an appointment.
Yes.
And I said, I'll tell you on the podcast what the appointment was.
Can we say it now, or do we have to wait till we come back from the break?
Oh, okay. Oh, the good tease. Okay.
Up to you.
Let's do the break, and then I'll
Well,
open
you
it
are
up.
co-executive producer, so
Yeah, but my pay doesn't show it.
okay.
So-
Well, In contract subset A, subset B, it shows that when you signed the contract and you received your first $100 million for doing this podcast, there were some certain things that you agreed to that your lawyers looked through before you signed anything. So,
Moving along, Grace. Come on.
okay, I guess we'll be
Open
right
it and
back.
close it, and let's get back to it.
Now, I forget because it's a
Yes.
Sunday morning. Do we talk about what we're talking about on the podcast now or when we come back? Uh-huh.
What is that bell sound? Am I
That's
on a timer?
that's a timer. That's the bell should be going off in your head saying, "I don't know."
Oh yeah, that was me. I was sending message to you saying I don't know. You know what? We own this show. We can do whatever we want.
Okay, then you know what? We're going to take a break. We're going to come right
Yes.
back, and then we're going to share your
Tease.
your teas. Your
And then
teas.
tell people what we're going to talk
Yes. So we'll be right back, folks, and everyone just calm down.
about. No,
And
you
another
will, but
thing.
no.
And we're back. Well,
And for our listeners and watchers, who are we?
we are Don and Gary doing 60. We're here to unwrap and unpack navigating the world at this age.
Yes.
You can find us on podcasts and Spotify and wherever amazing podcasts are found. We're also on Instagram at Don and Gary Doing 60. We're also on YouTube on Pfeiffer Pod, Don and Gary Doing 60, and soon to be Blue Sky.
Is Blue Sky only audio or is it audio and video?
It's audio and video. I've been doing some perusing through it because I'd like to start following some specifically interest groups that are part of the podcasting world. So
Okay.
I'm trying to sort of peruse through that. It's not really hitting like with all 8 cylinders just yet, but it's got
Pretty
some
new.
momentum. It's a lot less caustic. It is somewhat political, but it is a lot less toxic and vitriolic. It's a lot less mean,
Yeah.
basically. So that's why we're doing it. Anyway, sorry, Gary, we got to jump along. Do you want to drop your bomb?
Well, it's not. I would call it a bomb, but
No.
it's just. I just was laughing because as you and I were having the conversation today, I was heading to an appointment to get my tetanus shot. I brought it up like eight
Not
or
again.
times, so now I can
Tetanus
cross
shot.
it off the list.
Go on.
Because last week I had an appointment with my primary care doctor
Yes.
because it had been a year, and just kind of checking in, and that was one thing on my list of questions was like, hey, it's come up on my podcast. No, I didn't say that, but it's come up in conversation, and I don't recall ever doing it. And he's like, yeah, do it. So I did take it, and it's called actually the Tdap. It's a 3-prong vaccination that covers tetanus, diphtheria, and pertussis. So as I mentioned before, tetanus is basically lockjaw.
Yes.
It causes painful stiffening of the muscles. Diphtheria can lead to difficulty breathing, heart failure, paralysis, or death. We don't have time for that.
No, we don't. Nobody got time for that.
And then pertussis, also known as whooping cough, can cause uncontrollable violent coughing that makes it hard to breathe, eat, or drink. So this one vaccination covers all those three. And they say adults who have never received Tdap should get a dose of it and receive a booster dose every 10 years. So like I said, if we had it, and you're supposed to have it as a child as well. As a child, I don't recall, too many years ago. As an adult, I can pretty much say never had it. So check it off the list. 10 years from now, I get a booster. How about
Okay.
you?
Good to know. I was only a mere embryo when I probably had my tetanus shots, but I do remember all of those different illnesses coming up as something I would hear growing up in the 60s. There was there's something you heard more about: whooping cough, mumps, measles, all those other
Right,
things
right.
that and lockjaw, that kind of thing that the tetanus shot is supposed to prevent. So yeah, I absolutely will definitely check because I went back to my doctor recently. We need to jump into who we're talking to and what we're doing this week.
So we have another guest under the umbrella of ain't nobody got time for that. This is someone who you may have met at one of my parties. Maybe, maybe not. But he is a friend of mine. I know him through his wife. They've been married, I'm going to say 30 years, but he'll confirm. I've known his wife since I was a teenager or in my early 20s. she grew up in San Mateo, but we did not go to the same schools because she was in a different part of San Mateo.
Okay.
So different elementary, middle, and high school. But I wanted to bring him on because he is a member of the club. And, we talk about retirement. I'm going to confirm with him. I think he retired early.
Okay.
But recently went back to work.
Interesting. Okay.
Right. And then, yeah, so different things will come up.
Yeah.
So he'll join us in about 4 minutes.
Okay. So I didn't mean to rush you on your bomb.
No, wasn't really a bomb. But since you mentioned vaccinations,
Yes.
A current topic, because you mentioned measles, there's an outbreak in 5 states right now of measles.
Yes. Yes. I've read about that, and I
Yeah.
believe that I don't know how much we want to dive into why that might be happening or the prevention for it. That is not going to happen.
We know how, we know who, but
We know, if you know, you know, just so you know.
so what's new in your world?
Well, let's see. We were going to do a lot of gardening and irrigation today, but since it's raining, we're taking a pass and doing a lot of binge walking or watching instead.
Okay.
So, things are fine. Let's see. Back on the exercise routine, back on the outdoor routine. It's just nice to be back on a routine that is more health driven because I have to say, I think we spoke about this before. I was kind of lacking with the consistency on working out and using my rowing machine. So yeah, that's actually been good. I had to take last week off because someone had to go take a business trip and leave me with the dogs. So someone, me, yeah, had to take care of all the dog duties, which is quite consuming with time.
Yeah.
Although that's basically another excuse for not getting on the rowing machines. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've been trying to be more consistent about going to the gym, and I haven't posted of the Gary Chronicles only because I'm in this kind of holding area where once I hit the 40-pound loss point, I was like, okay, we'll just keep going, and I'm kind of stuck. I don't know why.
It's called a plateau.
Yes, I plateaued, and I don't like that. I want to continue on the journey.
No plateau. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a natural progression with people on a either a weight loss, working out, gaining, losing. Everyone hits a certain mark, and then you just have to be consistent through that plateau to get
Right.
you over.
I'm not stressing about it, but
No.
it is like, patient because I'm excited. Like I want to get to like the next post. I can say, hey, I've lost 50 pounds, but I'm not there yet. And it's like, it's 42 and then I lose 1 and then I gain 2 and I lose 3. And so
That's fair.
it's just
Well, but let me ask you this, you don't have to tell her if you want to, but I expect you to. Like the stock market, people recommend that you don't watch it very often. That you don't, because if you're checking, let's say you're checking your financial portfolio, and you go to the stock market every day and check it whether it's up or down or up or down. You can't really time out the market to hit a good time to invest or sell or whatever. The same might be said about checking your weight because you do have to put that time in to be consistent. So do you check regularly?
So my routine since I started on before I started on Ozempic, I didn't own a scale. So the only time I weighed myself was when I went to the doctors. So I got a scale. My routine has been every Wednesday and every Saturday. Saturday being because that's the day that I give myself the Ozempic injection. So that's my routine. So Wednesday mornings and Saturday mornings, I weigh myself and I take my blood pressure,
Okay.
which is handy dandy right here next to my computer because that way you don't have to sit. I get up and then I come and sit down and I'm in a calm.
Because your blood pressure can.
Chris, Martha, what are you doing here?
Oh, can I stop us all for a second here for a second? Gary, can I speak with you over here for a second?
Why? Why is that?
Well, remember we discussed this, that Chris would have to shave his head to come on to the podcast because no one can have better hair than me on this show.
Yes, for our listeners,
my
Don is feeling
con-
threatened because our guest has nicer hair than Don.
Yeah, well,
Well, Don, the good thing is that's the only thing I got going for me. So,
oh, please.
so you're
Yeah.
way above.
I don't buy that. But if you read your contract, sir, when we sent you the check for doing this show, which was multi-$1,000 deal that we signed, we agreed that you would shave your head before you came on.
Luckily, my hairstylist was out of town.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Well, we'll wait. Go ahead.
Quick technical question, Don. Is Chris's volume good for you or does it need to go up a little bit?
Chris, I think you just talk to me. Sing a song. What's your favorite song? I'm just kidding.
If you were a singer, what would your number 1 hit be?
Don't stop believing.
Okay, that's
Okay, he's
good.
not. Yeah,
That's,
well,
we'll call you on that one.
Okay.
yeah.
No, you're good.
So, Chris, Martha, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
Before you joined us, I mentioned to Don that I've known you, I was going to say at least 30 years. How long have you and Joyce been married?
So we're about to hit 26 years.
Okay.
Coming up in a month or so. So yeah, it's been right around the 27, I guess 27, 28 years or so.
Right. So
when we
I
met.
mentioned that I've known Joyce since I was either a teenager or in my 20s.
Yeah.
So I've known her roughly 40 years.
Well, our kids call you Uncle Gary, so
Oh,
you're part of the
yes.
family.
Yeah. Yeah. So I knew Joyce when she was single, and then I was invited to their wedding, and then they've got two kids who are now in their mid 20s.
Mid-20s, yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, and they've lived close by, so it's been a long friendship. Just saw them a couple weeks ago. But anyway, so welcome.
Well,
Yeah,
And
thanks for
welcome to
being-
the club.
it's an honor to be here. I gotta, I gotta admit it's my first podcast, so I'm a little nervous.
No,
I don't want to
no.
screw this up for you guys, but
Well, it's contractually you can't do that because you've signed away your life, and if you do screw it up, we get to sue you for everything. So yeah, it's fine.
So, Chris, were you like me that prior to Don and I starting the previous podcast, I'd never listened to a podcast? Are you a podcast listener?
I had never listened to a podcast. Actually, Gary, I think you were the first one who really, when you mentioned your previous podcast,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. What's this podcast stuff all about? And that really did get my interest in the whole concept of podcasting. And to be honest, it was you that got me thinking, maybe I can look at doing a podcast with my four brothers who are all back east in New England, because we did a couple of Zooms over COVID, and we found out it was fun to get together, and I was like, well, maybe we can put together a podcast if I can maybe learn something from you guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's a great way because you're on opposite coasts. It's a great way to stay in touch.
Yeah.
Because you don't get to physically see each other very often.
Right.
And that's kind of what started with Don and I and our friend John, was that we're all living in different cities in California, and we can't get together, in person
Right.
a lot. So that was what started as, and what you want to do with your brothers, share stories, make memories, and that's how this got started.
Everybody loves stories, Chris, and I'm sure your family and your brothers have great stories that you tell, and people love to listen to stories too. So I think it's a great idea. People love to archive memories like this for family, for their children, for their grandchildren, for people coming, because the internet is forever. So if you did make some recordings, I think that'd be a great way to archive for your family some history, and maybe your family and other people could enjoy and learn stories that they might not have heard before.
Absolutely, yeah. I think now that there's all of us brothers. There's 5 boys, no girls, and my mom, I think she wanted a girl, and after 5, she was like, okay, that's it, cut it off.
The shop is closed.
Shop is closed. But yeah, we all have kids, and now grandkids are entering the picture, and I totally agree. It's a great way to share stories with the next generation.
And can I ask you quickly, because I have in-laws that live in Worcester. Are you anywhere near Worcester or Worcester?
Worcester.
Worcester. Worcester. It's actually Worcester, called
Worcester.
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 I don't get it.
Way back in college days, I went to school in Boston, and I was actually born in Massachusetts, and we kind of traveled around New England. But yeah, we know Worcester.
Worcester.
That's how we call
Worcester.
it. Worcester.
And so you're the only rebel that ventured westward?
I am the rebel that ventured westward. It's kind of funny, I guess. I call myself the black sheep, but I had always known from I don't know what age, but I always wanted to go to California somehow, some way, and it's it's a weird story how I got out here, but I actually did have a brother that followed me, my youngest brother, who's a musician. He wanted to come out and check out San Francisco. So after I was out here, I was living with a friend, a good friend from work. We had rented a house in Mountain View, California, and we had an extra bedroom, and we said, yeah, come on out. And it was my youngest brother, Kenny, who ended up moving up to San Francisco and finding a room rent where the woman who was renting the room out happened to be Joyce's old college roommate.
Really?
So my friend, my brother, when my now wife Joyce was looking, transitioning from her old apartment to look for a place to buy, she got the extra bedroom that they had, and with her old college roommate, and my youngest brother said, hey Chris, you gotta meet this girl who just moved in here. And it's my youngest brother who introduced me to Joyce, who is now
Really?
my wife of almost 26 years.
Wow.
So yeah,
Wow.
he was out in San Francisco. I think he was looking to try to break into a music career, and it worked a little bit, but not quite enough. And he ended up moving back east, but he served his purpose of introducing me to Joyce, and then he left.
And the rest is history. So I'm sorry if I missed this part, but when you moved to California, was it for work, for school, or you just wanted to move?
It was for work. So I'll try to keep this short, but I was in school in Boston, and the school I was at was called Northeastern University, but their big attraction was what they called cooperative education, or co-op, where 6 months of the year you're in school, you're in class. The other 6 months of the year they send you out to work in your field, and you actually earn a paycheck. So, but it's also really gaining experience. So by the time you graduate, if you've done a pretty good job, that you'll have a job waiting for you. So my field of study was computer science, and I had gotten jobs with IBM at various places from school. So I started off actually in New York, and then I got called down to IBM in Houston, Texas, of all places, working with NASA down there. In Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah.
I ended up, after graduating, I ended up moving down to Houston, and I worked with IBM for a little while. And Houston actually was a kind of a fun place to be in your early 20s with a bunch of other folks that were just single and in their early mid-20s and looking to have fun. And it was IBM that sent me out to Palo Alto, help this little tiny startup company get their software working on IBM computers. This is back in the 80s, and back in the late 80s. And that little startup company offered me a job, and I'm like, okay, I always wanted to go to California. This is Palo Alto. This is the middle of Silicon Valley. It seems like things are starting to happen in the world with computers. And so I was like, okay, I'm moving. I'm taking this chance. And so that was kind of how I got to California. I just got lucky and lucky, through just different opportunities that popped up. And kind of the rest is history.
So you were basically at the start of the Silicon Valley.
I was right at the
explosion.
start. Yeah,
Right.
I was the one guy in the company that got to take home the original little Mac. This little
The rectangular one, the square one?
this little square box.
Yeah.
And my roommate, like I mentioned before, I lived with my best friend was a guy I worked with, happened to be like the genius techie guy at work. And he was like, all right, we're gonna make this thing. We're gonna start doing this stuff called email, right? And we're gonna start, So it was like email before people had email, and I'm like, this is cool, So it was really the beginning of Silicon Valley, but
Wow.
we didn't quite know how big it was going to explode, but it was fun to, like I said, I look back and it seems like I've just been lucky to be in the right place at the right time. And I'd like to say I was smart enough to know to be in the right place at the right time, but I was just
We'll go with that. We'll go with that.
okay. So anyhow,
So I wanted to jump ahead because I was
yeah,
telling Don that at some, and whether it was that company or another company that you worked for several years,
yeah.
did you retire early than the traditional
Yeah.
retirement age?
So once again, another lucky story. So the first company I joined, this when I said I moved out to California for this little startup. So I worked with this smaller company. We got pretty successful. And then they got purchased by Reuters, which is a British company. Mm-hmm. The guy that was sort of managing the other company said, come on over to us. You know exactly what we do. You know how it works. You will fit right in. The next company was called Tibco Software.
That's right, Tibco,
which
yeah.
I then spent the next 20 years with. And
Okay.
the big, it's kind of like in the early 90s, they ended up going public. And right at the right time, right when the internet was just, any company called .com was just going crazy.
Sure.
When it went public, things went kind of crazy. And once again, lucky to be in the right place at the right time. Timing is everything, I guess. So a lot of us old timers, 20 plus years, were given the option of taking an early retirement package. I was thinking, okay, what would I want to do next?
That's always the question that we ask people too.
Yeah.
Like if you were all of a sudden given basically the golden key.
I was. And I'm like, okay, I wonder if I could follow another dream of mine of getting into the music industry and starting up a music company that would help musicians, really become their own bosses and not have to give away all of the proceeds to
Right.
the record companies, if you will.
Right.
And so I had met a friend that was wanting to do the same thing, and he was already in the music industry. And so we said, all right, let's try to put together a little startup where sort of give musicians a different opportunity where they can own their own intellectual property, if you will, so that,
Right.
say, they write a song and it gets pulled into a Coca-Cola commercial or something like that, that they own it. It's not like the record company owns it and they don't get
And
any.
they get a percentage.
Right. And so this was kind of an experiment. And I would say I learned a lot of lessons in this, trying to build your own startup experiment. First, most important lesson is make sure you really enjoy being around the people that you're partnering with and that you're on the same vision
Right.
forward. I kind of thought we were, but in the end it turned out we sort of had different visions. So anyhow,
Where are your musical tastes at, Chris? Where do you land?
so I'm more of a I'm kind of more of an old time rock and roll, R
Jackson Brown, Rolling Stones.
Rolling Stones,
Okay,
absolutely.
Rolling Stones. So very different worlds. We're talking about
Yeah.
R&B,
Yeah,
rock and
R&B,
roll. Very
yeah, R&B, rock and roll, and I'm like, well, I'm sure we can, kind of merge these things together, and that really wasn't working, and it was going,
Sure.
and it was kind of going in the opposite direction, and I'm like, this is,
Yeah, but I mean, just the undertaking of a business like that, just the legality side of it,
Yeah.
there must be a lot. The thing about I find admirable about that is that you took the stride to do something, following kind of a passion of yours. Plus, you probably, as you said, learned a great deal from the experience. It might not have gone where you had thought or projected it to go, but I'm sure you took a lot of things back with you
Yeah.
from that learning experience, right?
Absolutely. So the experience itself was great for learning, and if I ever want to try doing something like this again, I will have a lot more knowledge and a lot better idea of how to put it together. When I look back, it was good to go through it, or there were times that were a little bit painful because you get these relationships going, and then it's like I disconnect myself from this. It's kind of like going through a divorce or something.
I have that thought with Gary every time we hit the record button. But let me ask you something real quick. How many guitars do you own?
I have two guitars, but
Okay, that's what I thought.
yeah. So music still is very big for me. So it more is, when I think about what do I really like about music, almost everybody on the planet has some form of music that they can connect with. And it's not always going to be what music I like or whatever, but I think music has an emotional element to it that people can connect with. And
Oh, for sure.
so I really like when I think looking forward, when I think about, what would I like to be doing, later in life, it really is musically involved, but I think it's more probably on a personal level, it's more about making music and creating.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole creative process and, getting my own little view of perspective or message out to the world, in some sort of positive way, hopefully make a positive message out there.
So you'd like to be in front of the microphone? Is that the point?
I've always secretly told myself I would like to be in front of the microphone.
Okay.
Just to try it, not to be Mick Jagger, as fun as that probably would be. More just to, get over that little fear factor of, you can do this, you enjoy it yourself in your, in your bedroom, just playing without anybody else there, it's really fun. So I think it would be a dream of mine to eventually get out there on open mic night at the coffee shop or whatever.
Well, I was just going to ask, have you ever looked into, because they've got to be open mic nights or,
Yeah.
set up a little area in the corner of a farmer's market, right?
Yeah.
And just start playing
Well,
when there's a lot of people around.
I'm one of those guys that goes to the open mic night or the farmer's market and watches, and loves the courage of these people, to get up there, because you can tell, some of them are just their first time trying it, and I'm like, okay, that's courage right there. That's, I want to be like that.
Okay, but I have to ask you, one of the questions I sent over to you was what's your karaoke go-to song? Do you have a karaoke go-to song? Not mine.
So, when we started off and you said sing a song I can't sing like Steve Perry and Journey or something like that, but I like songs like Don't Stop Believin'.
Yeah.
I like positive, like
Right.
you can do this, so that's kind of my whole life is, never give up, just keep pushing forward. You'll make it happen. So I kind of like that's the first thing that popped into my head. Don't Stop Believing.
Okay.
Even though I can't sing it, I don't know, who can sing it at that level.
But you know what? You don't have to be Steve Perry, right? You can
no.
be your version of you.
That's right. So
whether it's that
I would create
actual
my
song
own
or another
version.
one similar to it.
But I like that sort of that vibe,
Yeah.
Get people, moving and in a positive way, dancing and stuff like that.
Well, I was going to say, I appreciate the story of you, actually taking steps to start this music company on your own because, one, not everyone has an opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
I think coming out of the pandemic, a lot of people took that opportunity to follow their dream, to do something that maybe they wouldn't have done because they were set in their 9-to-5 job. And even though they thought about this dream they had, they never did it because, how can I do it? But coming out of the pandemic, I think a lot of people said, you know what? Why not now?
Yeah.
So you didn't do it during the pandemic, but you did it so that you wouldn't have to look back
Right.
later in life and say, I wish I would have.
That's exactly right. And I do have to thank my wife Joyce for saying, go for it. Now's the time. You don't want to look back and say, I wish I'd tried it and stuff like that. And when I realized it wasn't working, it was kind of like, okay, we just have to we just have to pull the Band-Aid off. We just have to say, okay, this isn't working.
Sure.
Let's cut it off and go our own ways. And then, I was thinking, okay, this is kind of like my second mini retirement. So I started thinking about what are we going to do next?
Yeah, what's next?
What's next? Well, what was next was COVID. It hit right when, and then everything sort of the bottom fell out. Like, okay, we have to figure out what the world is doing right now and what we're allowed to do and things like that. So the next several years really kind of shut down, and when things kind of opened back up, we had moved from Palo Alto up to where we live now, which is Mill Valley, which is Mill Valley is right across the Golden Gate Bridge from San Francisco.
Right.
And we find this is like a mini little secret paradise place because it's, I don't know if you can see behind me. I mean, it's just trees and, we got...
Yeah, it's really tucked away.
Yeah, and it's nature, beautiful nature, and you might even see deer literally walk behind me as we're talking. But it's also 15 minutes, you're in San Francisco.
Right.
And it's a beautiful kind of balance between being out in nature and nice and quiet and kind of private, but also when we want to go into the city, see a show and whatever, it's really quick to get in there. And so when COVID finally opened back up and we started going back into the city from here, one of the things that we saw clearly every time we went in were tents and encampments, in all these various places, homeless people, and it seemed to be not getting better, it seemed to be getting worse. And I was,
right.
Every time we went in, I was talking to my wife about, who's fixing this? What's going on here? This just is not getting better. It seems to be getting worse. And she was like, well, you've talked about that for years. What do you want to do about it? And I was like, me? I was like, okay, you're right. I have been talking about this, and maybe I should see if there's anything I can do to help. And so I literally checked into, are there any jobs in San Francisco where you can actually help out with this process, and sure enough there were. And so I went ahead and took one of these jobs working for the city of San Francisco. Basically it falls underneath the mayor, of helping out with the homeless issue, and it is a real, it's a hard problem. And
sure.
It's, I wish I could tell you that there's a little pill everybody could take and all of a sudden it would go away, but not, that's not the reality. I will say that there are a lot of very good people working to try and help. And the underlying, I would say, foundational, the trying to help fix the problem is what's really underneath the services in San Francisco. And I'm sure San Francisco is just, one of many places around the country where this is a problem. The good news is that I think people really are trying to come up with solutions to help, and it's not the easiest thing to solve. It's something that I think is going to take a lot of different approaches from many different angles.
I was going to say, Chris, I don't think Gary can chime in too, because he actually is very connected too. But the thing is, I don't know that one strategy is going to fix the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's true.
It's really, it's really going to be multiple strategies, multiple groups and services, and minds all coming together to make this work. And so I did come out of retirement recently. I've been there now just over a year, and it has been a very eye-opening experience. And I'd say that I will continue to support what these groups are doing. I am happy to say that there's a lot of smart, good people that really, their entire intention is to help make this work. And so I still have
Because there's so
hope.
many different. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Like there's so many different components because under the umbrella of homelessness, where there's the drug
Yeah.
part of it, there's the mental health
Yes.
and wellness
Yes.
part of
Very
it.
big.
There are folks that maybe because of job loss or whatever that they suddenly find themselves not able to pay their rent.
Right.
So they not on drugs and they don't have mental health issues, but it's a financial
Yeah.
crisis.
Exactly.
It's just a combination of all of this. And even though, yes, to your point, other cities are experiencing this, at least when I'm watching or hearing the news, San Francisco seems to rise to the top in terms of they're getting national attention, where it's like, then I'll read a small story about what is happening in Pittsburgh and in Chicago and in Atlanta and in here and there. But those stories don't get covered. It's all about San Francisco and how
Yeah,
horrible
San
it is
Francisco does seem to get a lot of the headlines.
I think they're an easy target for people who are detractors from the strategies that are being put into place. I think there's a lot of people that want to see it fail just to call it out. We know how toxic social media is now and has been for a long time. So it's hard when you know all the good things, Gary, and you know what's happening that are actually good people, good things, good strategies in place. They just take some time.
Yes.
To work, right? Because it's not going to happen or fix itself in a month.
And it's been an issue, that in other cities as well, but especially in San Francisco, it's, 20, 30, it's been going on for decades.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And every mayor and every department that comes in and touches on it, I mean, they all have good intentions.
Yeah.
But it's not something, as you say, you can take a pill, you can snap your fingers, and it's done. There's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of the NIMBY groups that come up and they want to build a homeless shelter. Well, not here.
Mm-hmm.
Or the administration wants to do X, but then there are groups that are advocates for the homeless. So you can't do that because you're taking away their rights. And so there's a lot of push and pull.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the mayor and Department of Housing and homelessness and so on, they've all got so many obstacles against them.
Right. Right.
But in the end, they all have good intention. It's just a matter of what they can do and how quickly they can do it and how much it's going to cost.
Yeah. And, just to put a little bit of a positive note on this, there are absolutely what I would call success stories where folks come in, we call them clients. Clients come in and maybe they've hit, like Gary was talking about, the perfect storm where they lost a job and then the rent got raised and a number of things happen and they find themselves, out on the streets, and where the services that we have are able to get them back on their feet, able to get them back into the workforce and back into housing and they'll come back and they'll say, you guys saved my life. And when we hear that, it's like it's one of the most wonderful things to hear is it's actually working for some people. So you get re-energized when you hear those stories, and you're like, okay, let's keep pushing forward here. So
Well, I applaud you for taking on this latest career, because you say you go in the city and you witness and see this. A lot of people can just go away and say, criticize it, or say, I'm never going back, or just complain about it and point, and why aren't they doing anything?
Right.
Well, you took the approach of, well, raise your hand, because not too many people do that. What can I do? How can I help?
Well, thank you. Yeah, and
So I applaud you for that.
I'll admit it was a little scary at first, going in, and it's a little bit of a shock, with like this. This is a serious problem, and but these are real people. These are,
Right.
When you meet these people face to face, it's like, oh my God, this is you're amazing. Being able to make it here to our office, and
Right.
and talk. So so the other thing that we learned, or that we're taught in training early on, is do your best to not get personally too deeply connected with each individual person, because things can happen and you will you will get hurt along the way if you get too connected, and so that's
Sure.
it's a tough side of it too. Yeah, I'm sort of the eternal optimist guy that, I always think about the positive things. I'm like, okay, this is, this will hopefully work, and let's keep going.
Just to bring it back to you a little bit, Kristen, and again, we're applauding you for all of the efforts that you've made, but I have noticed a thread with a lot of us who are at this age who reinvent ourselves or change paths or courses. It seems to be that our second or third reinvention always steers us towards something we truly are passionate about or would like to do something with or for or to. So I think it's quite interesting how that's a common thread about us at this certain age where reinvention takes place. I don't think it ever stops. I know you're not going to give up this current journey or fight that you're on for the community, but is there anything else that you would change about, if you had a magic wand, I'm sure you could, try and fix something very immediately, but is there anything else? You mentioned music. You mentioned this current path you're on with helping the community. Is there something else that you do for yourself or for your family?
Yeah, I mean, you mean if I'm, moving forward, what else would I want to be doing to
Yeah.
help?
I know this is a long journey probably now, so this one's not going to end anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, well, I will. You mentioned the music thing. I really, and you said earlier, how many guitars do you have? And the funny thing is had always wanted. I played guitar. I was sort of a hack on guitar and played that all, for 40 years or whatever. But I'd always wanted to learn how to play piano,
Ah,
and so I finally told myself, all right, you can do this, and it's another thing that has always been in the back of my mind. So that's kind of what I'm teaching myself now is that,
because guitar is two hands,
yeah,
piano's two
piano's
hands.
two hands, but
Guitar,
it's,
you're doing two different things with your hands.
yeah. And the piano, I think, is a nice way to put together a song, kind of compose a song, and then you can add guitar or whatever later. There's some weird feeling I have in myself that the piano is my instrument, and even though
Oh,
I'd been a guitar player for so many years, so I'm really enjoying having a time on to learn the piano, to play it, and to hopefully compose music and stuff like that.
do you have a piano at home?
I have a keyboard. It's called a weighted keyboard, so that the keys are supposedly just like playing a piano. So I don't have
Yeah,
to,
I was going to ask you, does your family enjoy
you
the
know.
piano?
Ah,
So I made sure. So it's a good, excellent question. So I made sure that the keyboard that I got allows you to plug headphones in, so that
Just going to ask.
she can play away, and
yeah. So
the house is blissful.
so it's okay with the family.
Yes.
But I will. You mentioned family. I mean, I'd say probably the most important thing in my life is my family. And my two kids are wonderful, wonderful kids. So we have a daughter who graduated from college about a year ago, and she is working with a startup company here in Marin. And they also do some work in San Francisco that helps young kids in school who are having kind of social problems, not intellectual problems, but social problems with fitting in with the classroom and things like that. And so she is actually living with us at our house right now. She wants to go back to grad school, and she wants to move out of the house. She's like, don't think that I think I'm just going to stay here, as long as I want. She's just an amazing, amazing young lady, and we are excited for her future. So it's kind of, we want her to go off and become independent, and she's
Not so much an easy thing to do as when we were going to school or to college because costs have skyrocketed. Grad school is incredibly expensive. Just college
yeah.
is incredibly expensive now. And to be able to, I mean, when she moves out, I'll move into Mill Valley because I love Mill Valley and it's beautiful there. So why would you ever leave? But I think it's a very different struggle for younger people right now getting through college. Just getting through college is one thing.
Yeah.
Going to grad school is another thing, as you say. I think it's very different from when we were growing up. because you had state colleges you barely paid
Yeah.
to go to, or
Right.
junior colleges that were very affordable. And now no education is inexpensive anymore. So I have to give credit to these, I will say
Yeah.
kids,
Yeah.
who are
Great.
actually getting their way through this. But also, it sounds like your daughter's found a passion that she wants to be helpful to the world
Yeah.
in her own
She,
way
she-
too, right?
yeah, she is, and we're reminding her to, try and find a balance between, following your passion and also, being
Making money.
realistic about having a place to, live, and there are expenses and stuff like that come along the way. So she's an amazing. I always joke that, I think it was about third grade or so when she passed my intellectual capability.
Really?
She follows after her mother. She's really, she will find her way and have a wonderful life. And same with our son. Our son is right now, he is finishing his last semester in the local community college, College of Marin, and is going to be transferring to a four-year school in somewhere in California. So he's starting to get his acceptance letters coming in. So he's going to be choosing over the next few weeks where he'll be going in the fall, and we're very excited for him because he was kind of wondering how important education really was years ago back in the high school days, and it was wonderful to see. I think the light bulb went off in his head where he's like, hey, maybe education really is important, and I can create my own future, and I can do whatever I want to do, and
That's what a JC is good for, though. That gives you time to marinate on what you'd like to do or pursue and not spend $1 jillion on 2 years of GE education at
yes.
a very expensive college. So if you're not sure about education, JC can be a great landing ground for you to figure it out.
Yeah, it was perfect for him. We were so excited that he had that path to follow and figure things out, and now things have turned around 180 degrees for him, and he's excited about going off on his own too.
So have you and Joyce thought about what it'd be like to have no kids in the house?
We have. It's weird. It's it's kind of a whole next chapter, I guess. What do we want to do? And we've talked a lot about it, and we have a lot of kind of fun ideas, but it'll be, I guess it doesn't really hit you until it happens, and then we'll
Sure.
see. Yeah.
So, Chris, you've had 20 plus years of being an amazing father to two amazing children, and I'm sure giving them advice when they need it or when they want it. But one question we ask people in our club is if you could go back and give your younger self advice, and you can pick the age, whether that's a teenager or your or 30, is there advice that, based on what you know now, of what you tell your younger self?
Yeah. Okay. Excellent question. So I would say that what I would tell my younger self is don't be so worried about what you think other people want you to do. Think about what you really are enjoying, and don't be so worried about how other people, like your parents, might feel that you're letting them down or something like that. You didn't take this path in life, sort of, you thought that they wanted you to take. So I would, that's kind of what I would say is really, with your gut feel about what you really enjoy, and worry so much about what you think other people want you to do.
Sure. No, I think everyone can relate to that.
Yeah.
And let's talk bucket list. Do you keep one, and what's on it still that you haven't done, whether you by yourself or you and Joyce or you and the family?
Well,
Because once they leave the nest, it's harder to rope them in.
right. So bucket list is that's a good one, and I'm glad you brought it up because I recently, we're talking 3 weeks ago or so, was able to scratch one thing off my bucket list. And so it was back the last week of February. I have a cousin who lives down in Florida who owns a place in Colorado, and he invited all of us brothers, his cousins, me and my brothers, to come out and do a ski week in Colorado, and just stay at his place. Me and two of my brothers were able to get out, and I was able to ski for the first time at some of the resorts in the Rockies. So Vail was on my bucket list,
Oh, nice.
and it churned out to live up to the hype. We were there the week we were there. The weather was like perfect, sunny.
Are we talking Black Diamond or Bunny Slopes? What are we talking?
We're talking a few black diamonds,
Okay,
but
impressive.
I'm not. Since I'm on your podcast, I'm not in my 20s anymore. So
You're not?
the black diamonds were, probably took a little more cautious approach to them than used to bomb down those things in the old days. But it was just absolutely amazing. We had so much fun, did a lot of bonding. It was kind of like the guys' trip. So did some great bonding with my brothers and my cousin, who I hadn't seen in probably 20 years. And, by the end of the week, my cousin is like, okay, this is officially an annual trip. We're doing it every
Nice.
year.
Nice.
And it was just a blast. But one other thing I'll add to the list, and this is something that Joyce and I had talked about, kind of tying into what will happen when we become empty nesters, is she had always liked the idea of the two of us basically renting a van, I guess you'll call, some comfortable van, and just touring across the U.S. So going to all the national parks, Grand Canyon, Yellowstone, just going all around.
Dollywood.
Yeah,
Hey, the new Volkswagen Electric just came out, so I mean, it looks pretty
that,
amazing.
that looks cool. That looks
I
cool.
saw it.
I love the
I'm
concept
tempted.
of that. So yeah, that's something that just kind of got added to.
Could you get to Dollywood on a single charge?
That is, yeah, we'll have to.
Probably
We'll
not.
have to plan it. We'll have to plan how to stop along the way. But that's kind of that, when she mentioned that, I was like, that is an amazing idea, because when the kids were younger, we actually, and I was working with Tibco, we had the opportunity to go to a lot of places outside the U.S., Australia and India and Japan and stuff like that. And Joyce was like, there's a lot in the United States that we haven't seen. We've seen the East Coast, we've seen Boston, and we've seen California, and there's a lot in the middle that would kind of be fun to make just a extended road trip out of. And that's a great idea. So that's something I hope we get to do, when the kids go off on their own.
Nice.
Let me ask you another real quick one too, Chris. I know you are the tech guy. We made fun of you a little bit about that at
Yes.
the beginning. Was there, in a simplistic way, was there any technology that has come out in the last 25, 30 years that you have been really impressed with? It doesn't have to be a platform. It could be anything. It could be a cell phone. It could be
Yeah.
8-track player, 8-track tape.
Yeah, right. I think it's easy to say, the original iPhone, which could kind of do everything. I was like,
Yeah,
you know,
changed the world.
it was just unbelievable. But I'll even go back, I kind of say, okay, well, what was before that? And I think of the Apple, the iPod, right? That came out with
Yes.
this little thing that,
It's like this big.
yeah, and you can have 100,000 songs on it or whatever, and you
Right.
can dial them up,
That'll dial, yeah.
and I start kind of going back. I go back and I'm like, geez, there's so many phases of technology that kind of happened pretty fast. When the
Yeah.
original personal computers came out and you could have one in your house, and then the internet really catches on and you're able to go to a website. The original websites where there was a web page you could go visit and you could click on some buttons, and then before you know it, yeah, we have the iPhone, and of course now, I think the whole AI wave is
Right.
both exciting and scary. And I think we have to listen to the expert guys who actually created it and are warning us, put some guardrails around this, or it could go off in directions that we weren't anticipating. So I look forward to, like I said, I'm the eternal optimist, so I think we can use technology in a positive way and hopefully be smart enough to protect ourselves from letting it get out of our hands.
I agree. I can see the value in it, though. I have to say, I mean, there's so many things that even in one of our last episodes, I ran out of time and we had some issues with an episode, and I actually could hit the AI button on this platform, and it would basically create an episode for me. It would illuminate all of the gaps and noises, and it would get the sound levels correct. It would change the picture. It would do everything for you, and it was just at the click of a freaking button.
Yeah.
It's a little scary,
Yeah.
but it came in handy, I have to admit.
Amazing.
Yeah. Who knew?
So I'm.
Well, they're making a big splash here in San Francisco because they took over a large office space near Chase Center.
Yeah.
Really.
That just opened recently. So yeah, it's the talk of the town.
On a lighter note, and I told you I was going to ask you this question: who would play you in a movie or TV?
Okay. This is the one we have to finish off on.
Yeah.
So that question took me about 3 seconds to answer. And so I will preface by saying this is my wife's favorite actor, who I think would be a perfect fit. Matt Damon is the guy.
Oh, see, I was going to say Kevin Bacon. I was going to say Kevin Bacon.
I was going to go for Kevin Bacon too.
Okay, I can dance. Maybe Kevin Bacon, but Matt Damon is Joyce's favorite actor, and I'm like,
nice.
I like Matt Damon
that's a
too.
good choice.
So maybe we can work that out.
Okay. Hey, we've got your karaoke song. We've got your character that you play in a TV and a movie. We just need to get you a contract now with a movie deal, like with Netflix or something.
Absolutely.
Done.
As long as I don't have to shave
And then he's
my
got
head.
his next career.
Well,
Gary, are we good? Did we cover it? Do you think?
I think we're good.
I'll tell you what. This has been more fun than I imagined.
And you thought it was going to be?
I was nervous. My first podcast, but you guys are so friendly and so welcoming, and so
I am.
Hey.
It's been an honor to be on your show here.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Chris, thank you so much for joining us. It was wonderful. Congratulations on all your work, and more kudos to you for your continued success with working with the community in San Francisco.
Thank you, guys.
And we're back.
Well,
Really
this was
nice
a great
guy.
episode. Yeah.
Yes, super cool guy. I've not met him before, but really, really interesting, very involved.
Yeah, and I knew about this latest episode, or the latest career move, because I had stopped by his house a couple weeks ago and chatted with him and his wife. But yeah, it's just surprising. I knew he'd, I was going to say graduated, but he retired early. But I didn't know about the music part, the in-between part. I didn't know about that. But, it's not everyone that can follow their dream and, make the move and take that step. And he did it.
Yeah.
And regardless of the outcome, he can go back and say, you know what, I tried it.
Yep.
And I think maybe we'll try it again.
Sounds like he's really making an impact personally and himself in the Bay Area too, with working with the organization he's working with now.
Right.
Which is great.
Yeah.
And as I was saying to you, he's such a great stream of consciousness. It's like we don't really have to edit much. I just have to edit you completely out of the episode.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's not surprising.
Just kidding. Just kidding. You were
Speaking
really
of this
good.
episode, are we ready to wrap it up?
Let's wrap it up, please.
All righty, folks. So we thank Chris, Martha for joining us, and to our loyal listeners and watchers, you know that you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other platforms where you pod. We're available on Instagram at Don and Gary Doin 60. And if you want to watch us, which who doesn't, you can check us out on YouTube under Pfeiffer Pod Productions at Don and Gary Doin 60. And then, as Don has mentioned, coming soon to Blue Sky. So we'd love for, under all those platforms, like and subscribe. Comments are welcome. You want to reach us out? reach out to us by email. That's Don and Gary doing 60 at gmail.com. So until the next time, I'm Gary.
I'm Don, and you might even get a paycheck this time. We're doing such a good job.
Well, I appreciate it.
Okay. Well, enjoy the rest of your weekend.
All right, you too.
You take care. And I just saw all your notes closed down.
Oh, you did? Oh, my. I don't like to show things like that.
Sure you do. All right. We'll talk to you next time. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.